So this is the last 15 minutes, and later we will hear from all our speakers in the afternoon. So if you have questions, be ready with those questions, because gene therapy got me very excited. I feel like I'm going to be the exterminator, right, Doc? Seriously. So I'll make this quick and relatable. Stem cell for regeneration. Is it myth or truth? Watch this little newt regenerate its arm. Those are because of stem cells. The body is really designed to heal itself. But as we grow older, we don't exercise, eat proper nutrition, balance our microbiome, extremely stressed, we do degenerate. Where does the word regenerate come from? It's a Latin root, generare, meaning to create, to generate. But as we grow old, we degenerate. Now, deep inside you, you have a very strong potential to regenerate. Imagine this. You were once a ball of stem cells. When your father's sperm and your mother's ovum fertilize, after 1 week, it became what you call a blastocyst, or 128 stem cells. As you can see here, this is the embryo, which is a more mature blastocyst, and that was you. Embryonic stem cells are extracted from the embryo, and there's an ethical consideration there. Are we creating embryos to extract stem cells? That is a myth. There are over 100 to 200,000 embryos discarded in the US because either they were not healthy embryos, or the mother was successfully pregnant and they don't need 12 more embryos. Now, as you develop into a fetus, we have perinatal stem cells. But before I jump to stem cells, what are stem cells? They are actually cells where your cells, tissues, and organs stem from. Pretty easy, right? Very easy. So as a developing embryo, we have perinatal stem cells that you get from the placenta, the umbilical cord blood, or tissue. So just sharing that these are actually umbilical cord derived stem cells that our team cultured in Singapore. I didn't take it from the internet. But embryonic stem cells, we did take it from the internet. We successfully expanded umbilical cord blood from an umbilical cord bank, the biggest umbilical cord bank in the world, and that was actually a monumental success for our team. From there are adult stem cells. There are multiple sources of adult stem cells. You can get stem cells from your brain, from your skin, from your intestinal lining. In this case, these are mesenchymal stem cells from the bone marrow. Moving on, we have what we call induced pluripotent stem cells, because we cannot grow 1 billion embryonic stem cells to study off of, right? So iPSCs are adult stem cells programmed to behave like embryonic stem cells. Thus, we can use them for research. From there, we can program them again to become an adult cell. So this is a photo, a microscopic photo of a pancreatic beta cell that we reprogram from induced pluripotent stem cells from blood. So you take blood, program it to be iPSC. Why do you need to program it to iPSC? An adult stem cell is multipotent. It can differentiate to limited amount of cells. But an embryonic stem cell in the form of iPSC, not the same, but programmed to be an embryonic stem cell-like, you can program it to be any cell in the body. Quite powerful, right? In this case, this is our photo. We were able to successfully reprogram pancreatic beta cells, a potential treatment for type 1 diabetes. Might compete with gene therapy there. So we are in active research in this space. So this is a microscopic diagram of stem cells. There are two special qualities in stem cells. They self-renew. They can create a copy of itself, like, little gremlins when they're wet. Or they can differentiate. Given the proper signal, you can create muscle tissue, cardiomyocyte, or heart tissue. So those are the two special qualities of stem cells. And they have very, very active role in regenerative medicine. In this type of medicine, it's not just stem cells. You have platelet-rich plasma, you have natural killer cells, you have gene therapy. But the goal of regenerative medicine is to repair, regenerate, and restore the body back to its original well state. You can use natural or synthetic regenerative medicine, or you can use allogeneic, somebody contributing stem cells to you, or you can use autologous, or use my own cells to repair myself. What are the specialized function of stem cells? They have the paracrine quality. Paracrine means when you put a stem cell beside a tissue, most likely it will repair that localized area. Secondly, immunoprivileged. I always get asked, if I donate my mesenchymal stem cells from my bone marrow to my sibling, would they reject it? Actually, no. If that laboratory is equipped enough to expand stem cells and remove the immunogenic properties, your recipient will not have any rejection symptoms. So, cell-mediated immunomodulation. It's just a fancy term to say it actually improves the immune function of your cell. So, that's a good thing. And lastly, molecular-mediated cellular repair. For example, we keep on talking about, do stem cells actually treat dementia or Alzheimer's disease? Yes, because due to its condition, this quality of being of cellular repair, through the molecules of the brain, it provides neuroprotection and restoration of functional neurologic circuitry. There are multiple routes that you can give stem cells: intradermal, which you will see later, subcutaneous or under the skin, like how you inject Ozempic, intraarticular into the joint, intravenous, intramuscular, intraspinal, even intraocular. Question. Truth. Are stem cells being used today? Yes, they are. They've been used since 1980s for the treatment of hematologic cancers. So if you've heard the term hematologic stem cell therapy, it's been there since the 80s, but it's specifically indicated for leukemia, lymphoma, multiple myeloma, and other hematopoietic oncologic conditions. Now, famously, they have also reprogrammed stem cells to be what they call CAR T-cell therapy. It's just a more specific treatment for certain hematologic conditions and lymphoma. Also, it's been approved by the US FDA, one of the many examples that it's legal, for the treatment of avascular necrosis of the femoral head. Just to make it simple, you have your big leg here, the head of that leg experienced trauma, and there's less blood flow. You can actually inject mesenchymal stem cells to again make that femur alive. This is actually our patient. We injected mesenchymal stem cells into a 52-year-old woman, and as you can see, over 6 months, wow, looks like a 27-year-old, right? So our team actually uses placental-derived stem cells for this. So I want to share a particular case, so we're not talking about hypothetical conditions. Meet Helmut. He's one of my first stem cell patients. Just to give you a quick background, I did my cellular work for stem cells initially in Heidelberg in Germany, and I was working with a laboratory that was expanding mesenchymal stem cells from epidermal cells or skin cells. And we were banking stem cells from this source. And I did have a Swedish patient calls me up and he said, "Hey, I banked my stem cells with you in Heidelberg." And my father, who was 90 years old at the time, is dying. And his Spanish doctor said, "You're 90. It's okay, you're dying, right? You just pray to your maker and wait for you to meet him again." Of course, he said, "I have stem cells with you and you need to help me here. My father is drowning." You know, if you've heard of the condition congestive heart failure, it really means that ideally your heart pumps out blood and the number here, ejection fraction is normally 65 to 90%. So as you pump blood out of your heart, you should be ejecting about 65 to 90%. However, in this patient, that's why you say the patient is drowning, his ejection fraction is 22%. So I said, "Look, I'm not practicing in Spain." He said, "Can you just, talk to your lab, talk to his doctor, do something?" I said, "Okay." Communicating with both lab and doctor, both of them agreed. He's dying anyway, right? So I was forced into this actually. So we gave him 3 sessions of 20 million stem cells intravenously, not even through angiogram. This was very long. January 2015, we gave him 3 IV infusions of stem cells, 20 million times 3 sessions. And this was May 25, 2015, long time ago. Clearly, I have poor record keeping. You can see that his ejection fraction from 22 became 39%. And from those 3 infusions, his ejection fraction became 72%. I bet he has a better ejection fraction than 1/3 of this room. Because I heard earlier, 1 out of 3 of you will die of a cardiac event. Heart attack, congestive heart failure, cardiomyopathy, enlarged left ventricle, 1 out of 3 will die of cardiovascular disease. But this patient here, this was before our therapy. This was after the therapy. He looks way better. And I have consent, by the way. And patient was very happy. He lived 6 more years with no problems, then COVID came. Okay, next case. Now, this is also, I have regular adult patients for stem cells for banking. This is a patient, 7 years old and 2 months. The mother is a patient, and she again forced me. She said, "I have a daughter who has autism, and I read of these studies in Singapore that stem cells treat autism." I said, "I don't really treat kids." And she said, "You treated me and my mom. What's the difference?" Okay. So we collaborated with a developmental pediatrician. We did an EEG. We followed the protocol from an IRB-approved study in Chicago. And then this was actually a third-party, blind assessment. When the patient came, you can see that the patient has poor social interaction. We did 3 sessions of stem cells. After a year, she was 8 years and 2 months. You can see good social interaction, good consistent response to name calling. My time is running out. And this is the most amazing thing. She was 7 years old, and her behavior is this age equivalent of a 4 to 6 years old. Then after 1 year, you can see that everything in her profile is average, our average, and low average. And she was in 3rd grade. Her grade equivalent was equal to her age. That was one of my best patients for autism. So this is our stem cell laboratory in Singapore, Beta Life. We are an Institute of Molecular and we are approved by the IMCB in Singapore and the A-STAR. So in this lab, we are able to expand and culture from umbilical cord blood and tissue into mesenchymal stem cells, and we can reprogram the tissue to become iPSCs, and hopefully we're successful in patients with our pancreatic beta cells to cure type 1 diabetes. We're not there yet. Sorry, sharing this. We have a study for osteoarthritis to see, people say, I've never heard of you in stem cells. We don't market, we're not in social media, but we do a lot of studies. We have a study for osteoarthritis. This is actually my mom. She's seated in the crowd. Of course, if you don't do it to your family, don't do it to other people, right? So she has osteoarthritis grade 2, right knee, left knee. Did an intra-articular injection on her right knee with stem cells, left hyaluronic acid, 0 pain on right knee now. There's still some pain and limitation of motion and on the left knee. So if a pig flies, right? So these are just examples of our future research in the Philippines. Future, we still need people and funding. But we are a part of the Foundation of Regenerative Medicine out of Chicago for a multi-center trial for autism and also for discogenic and arthritic back pain. Back pain could really be a pain in the back, right? You can choose to have surgery, and we do have spinal surgeons in our team that they're saying, yes, surgery is helpful with pain. But when you repair part of the spine, and the bottom, below that and above that are still weak, you will still have pain in the future. So we do work with spinal surgeons that they believe that these injections can be very beneficial for older patients who don't want to undergo very invasive back surgery. And we are doing that study today, and it's been challenging. So hopefully next year we can present a better case series with positive outcomes. So challenges, safety. Is mesenchymal stem cell therapy safe? Yes, it is, if you work with credible doctors and licensed labs that are approved by the FDA, Ministry of Health, or whatever territory these stem cells are expanded. Are they effective? We definitely need a bigger population to be able to say that stem cells work, but they are never the cure for everything, as what you've heard social media told you. Ethical? It is ethical if you obtain it from ethical sources. Legislation, it depends on the country where you're in. That's why a lot of studies, a lot of treatments are not done in the US, but are done in South America or Mexico. And of course, you have conventional doctors who don't believe in it when it actually works. And research, because it's expensive, shows relatively few effective cases. The truth is, if stem cells are sourced ethically, which they can be from natural sources like the bone marrow, muscle, and umbilical cord, this does not have ethical issues. Is stem cell therapy illegal? Well, there are some restrictions. Many clinics provide mesenchymal stem cell therapy in ways that are legal, effective, and safe. Just look for the right clinic for you. Can stem cell therapy cure all diseases? Definitely not. You have to be screened properly such that it is safe and it's personalized for you. Lastly, to conclude, are stem cells for regeneration a myth or truth? It is possible as long as you're properly screened, you're properly managing your expectations, and you work with a licensed clinic that sources their stem cells from ethical and safe sources. And your regeneration starts here. So that's the end of my presentation, but looking into the future, we are also partnered with True Diagnostics with an age reversal study using mesenchymal stem cells. If you were here for Dr. Melissa Kainat's lecture, we are trying to measure that mesenchymal stem cell therapy actually reverses your epigenetic age with True Diagnostics. And most of the lecturers you've heard from today, we work with them using safe, ethical, and effective preventive, longevity, and regenerative therapies. Thank you.